For the reaction between lead sulfate and silver nitrate, we need to know the charge on sulfate ion first. So sulfate ion is SO4. So you go to Blackboard, here is polyatomic ion sheet. So when you download the sheet, let's look at sulfate ion. So sulfate right here is SO4 and the charge is -2. So I write down the sulfate ion. So we have SO4 2 negative for sulfate ion. I don't know the charge on lead because it can have more than one charges. So to find the charge on lead, I look at the whole formula. So according to the crisscross method of writing the formula, the charge on the second part of the compound becomes the subscript of the first part of the compound. So that means 2 negative must have been the subscript for Pb. However, we don't see that Pb has any subscript right here. So the reason is that the charge on Pb must have been +2. So when the charges are same, when the numerical value of the charges is the same, they cancel each other out. And that's how we know that the charge on lead is Pb +2 and the charge on sulfate ion from polyatomic ion sheet, we know that it's -2. And then we need to know the charge on nitrate ion, NO3 as well, and then determine the charge on Ag. So let's look at polyatomic ion sheet again. So we are looking for nitrate, which is NO3 -1. So we have NO3 -1. And when I'm looking at Ag, it doesn't have any subscript. That means the charge on Ag must be +1. And +1 and -1 just cancel each other out. So now we know the charges on each of them, and we know that this is going to be a double replacement reaction. We can complete the reaction. So PbSO4 will break down into ions. So Pb will go with nitrate. So I will write down PbNO3. And the charge on Pb is +2. So that means the subscript for NO3 is going to be 2. And then let's look at AgNO3. And AgNO3 will break down into ions as well. So Ag will combine with sulfate. So this becomes AgSO4. And sulfate ion has a charge of 2. Ag has a charge of 1. And we don't write down 1 as a subscript. So that means Ag will have a subscript of 2. And once we are done writing the equation, we need to make sure that we balance the equation as well. So put 2 in front of Ag, and now my equation is balanced on both sides.